You know how ChatGPT forgets everything between conversations and Grok sometimes gives you outdated information? Well, that's all about to change. Sam Altman just revealed that GPT-6 will have persistent memory that actually remembers you across months of conversations. Meanwhile, Elon dropped a bombshell tweet saying Grok-5 might be the first AI to achieve AGI. I've been testing both tools daily for months, tracking every update, and what I discovered is wild. We're not getting incremental updates anymore. We're about to see AI transform from a tool that answers questions to something that might actually think. Welcome back to bitbiased.ai, where we do the research so you don't have to. So in this video, I'm breaking down everything we know about ChatGPT-6 and Grok-5, the actual features they're building, when they'll likely launch, and which one might win the race to AGI. I'll show you the timeline of how we got here, compare them to current models, and help you understand what this means for the tools you're using right now. First up, let's talk about ChatGPT-6's biggest upgrade that Sam Altman says will change everything, and it's not what you think. ChatGPT-6, memory and smarter conversations. Here's where things get really interesting. Sam Altman didn't just casually mention GPT-6. He specifically told reporters that people want memory. But wait, let me explain what this actually means, because it's way bigger than it sounds. Imagine every conversation you've ever had with ChatGPT actually mattered. Not just within that chat, but across weeks, months, maybe even years. Altman revealed that GPT-6 will remember your preferences, your routines, even your communication style. Think about that for a second. It's not just answering your questions anymore. It's becoming truly personal to you. This isn't like the current memory feature that kind of works sometimes. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how AI assistants operate. But here's the kicker. And this is what really caught my attention when I was researching this. OpenAI is actually accelerating their development cycle. Remember how we waited 16 months between GPT-4 and GPT-5? Well, Altman specifically said GPT-6 will arrive sooner than that gap. Based on their release patterns and insider reports I've been tracking, we're looking at a potential public preview by mid-2026. That's not that far away. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what about the actual capabilities? This is where it builds on GPT-5's foundation in a fascinating way. See, GPT-5 introduced this unified system that automatically routes queries to either a quick answer mode or a deeper thinking mode, depending on your task. GPT-6 is expected to take this even further. Imagine GPT-5 Pro's extended reasoning capabilities, but now combined with persistent memory that actually understands your context over time. The multimodal abilities are evolving too. ChatGPT already handles text, speech, and images since it's running on GPT-5, but GPT-6 might add something we haven't seen yet, potentially video or enhanced real-time interaction. And before you ask about safety, yes, OpenAI is still emphasizing their gradual, safe rollout approach. They're learning from each release, iterating, making sure that as these models get more powerful, they remain aligned with their charter to benefit humanity. Grok-5, speed, scale, and AGI ambitions. Okay, now let's talk about the other side of this race, and trust me, this gets wild. Elon Musk dropped a bombshell tweet in September 2025 that made the entire AI community stop what they were doing. He said, and I'm quoting here, "I now think at XA, I has a chance of reaching AGI with at Grok-5. Never thought that before." Let that sink in. Musk, who's been in the AI game for years, who co-founded OpenAI, is saying Grok-5 might be the first model to hit artificial general intelligence. But here's what's really happening behind the scenes that most people don't know about. AGI Strategy is all about going absolutely massive on scale and speed. They built this insane compute cluster called Colossus in Memphis with 200,000 GPUs. To put that in perspective, that's more computational power than most countries have access to. And they're still expanding it. When I looked at their training methodology, it blew my mind. Grok-3 was trained on 10 times the compute of previous models. Then Grok-4 used this new reinforcement learning approach at pre-training scale with 6 times improvements in compute efficiency. So what does this mean for Grok-5? Based on what insiders are saying, training will start in late 2025 on hundreds of thousands of GPUs, aiming for a release by year-end 2025 or early 2026. The timeline is aggressive, but that's xAI's whole approach: move fast and scale hard. Here's something fascinating about their philosophy, though. While they're racing toward AGI, Musk announced they're open-sourcing Grok 2.5 and planning to do the same with Grok 3. It's this weird mix of competition and collaboration that's actually pushing the entire field forward faster. The practical capabilities are where things get really interesting. Grok 4 already has native tool use. It can run web searches, execute code, and even search X, formerly Twitter, in real time to answer complex queries. Grok 5 will likely deepen these abilities significantly. We're talking about an AI that doesn't just answer questions, but actively researches, verifies, and updates its responses in real time. And before we move on, let me address the elephant in the room. When Musk says AGI, he's not throwing that term around lightly. The recent benchmarks show why he's confident. Grok 4 Heavy was the first model to break 50% on xAI's Humanities Last Exam benchmark. These aren't easy tests. They're designed to push the absolute limits of machine reasoning. Release timelines. When will they arrive? All right, so when are we actually getting our hands on these models? Neither company has announced hard dates, but I've been piecing together clues from public statements, and the picture is becoming clearer. For ChatGPT-6, the acceleration is real. Sam Altman's comment about a shorter development cycle than the 16-month gap between GPT-4 and GPT-5 is crucial here. Most analysts, including those at VoiceFlow AI who've been tracking this closely, are pointing to mid-2026 for a public preview with a full release by late 2026. Now, that's informed speculation, but every signal from OpenAI points to sometime in 2026. Grok-5's timeline is even more aggressive. Here's what's fascinating. xAI has been maintaining a 6 to 7 month cadence for major releases. Let me walk you through this because the pattern is striking. Grok 1 launched in November 2023, Grok 1.5 in March 2024, Grok 2 in August 2024, Grok 3 in February 2025, and Grok 4 in July 2025. Following that pattern, and considering Musk's recent comments about training starting in fall 2025, we're looking at Grok 5 potentially arriving by late 2025 or very early 2026. But here's where it gets really interesting when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Imagine a timeline graph where the vertical axis is AI capability and the horizontal is time. What you'd see isn't a straight line. It's more like a staircase where each step is getting taller and coming faster. Think about this progression. GPT-1 in 2018 had 117 million parameters. GPT-2 jumped to 1.5 billion. GPT-3 exploded to 175 billion. Then GPT-4, rumored to be around 1.7 trillion parameters, fundamentally changed what we thought was possible. And now we're talking about models that might achieve AGI within the next year or two. The pace is genuinely dizzying. In November 2022, ChatGPT launched and hit 100 million users in just 2 months. That was less than 3 years ago. Now we're discussing models with persistent memory and potential AGI capabilities. If these trends continue, and there's no reason to think they won't, we could see GPT-7 and Grok 6 by 2027, each time doubling or tripling capabilities. AGI Strategies. Now let's dive into the philosophical battle that's shaping these developments, because understanding each company's approach tells us a lot about what to expect. OpenAI's stance, which they've articulated in their charter, is that AGI should benefit all humanity. Sounds noble, right? But what does this actually mean in practice? They're taking what they call a feedback-driven approach, deploying increasingly powerful systems incrementally to learn how to use them safely. It's like they're treating each release as a controlled experiment. Sam Altman's recent comments reveal this careful balancing act. On one hand, he wants cutting-edge features like memory and personalization. He even mentioned allowing users to customize the political stance of their AI. Imagine that level of personalization. But on the other hand, he acknowledges the massive privacy and safety challenges this creates. When you have an AI that remembers everything about you, the stakes for data protection skyrocket. xAI's approach, completely different philosophy. Musk has been brutally honest about treating this as a race. At xAI's October 2023 engineering demo, he literally said they would push the accelerator to be first with AGI. Their strategy is to maximize compute and reasoning capabilities as fast as possible. But here's the twist that makes this interesting. They're not keeping everything locked up. The open sourcing of Grok models shows this weird hybrid approach. They're simultaneously racing to win and sharing their homework with the class. It's accelerating the entire field in ways we haven't seen before. The Colossus supercomputer is central to their strategy. When you have that much computational power, you can try approaches that others simply can't. The recent development of Grok-4 Heavy and Grok-4 Fast shows their two-pronged approach perfectly. Push the absolute frontier with massive models while also making efficient versions for wider deployment. What's really fascinating is how both companies justify their approaches using the same goal, beneficial AGI, but interpret it completely differently. OpenAI says, gradual transition for safety, while xAI says, win the race to ensure good actors get there first. Comparing the latest, ChatGPT-4, Turbo, and Grok-2, 3, 4. Let me break down how these models actually stack up against each other, because the improvements aren't just incremental, they're game-changing. Starting with reasoning improvements, the leap from GPT-4 Turbo to GPT-5 was massive. GPT-4 Turbo, also known as GPT-4o, was already impressive. It ran 2 times faster and cost half as much as regular GPT-4. But GPT-5 introduced this dual-mode system that's brilliant. It has an instant mode for quick queries and a thinking mode that can spend more compute on complex problems. GPT-5 reportedly achieves expert-level scores in math and coding that would have been impossible just a year ago. On the Grok side, the progression is even more dramatic. Grok-2 already outperformed GPT-4 Turbo in real-time chat benchmarks. And that was back in August 2024. Then Grok-3 added large-scale reinforcement learning with its Think mode, hitting 93.3% on the 2025 AMY math test. That's not just good, that's better than most human mathematicians. But Grok-4? That's where things got crazy. They scaled up RL training on the Colossus cluster with 6 times efficiency improvements. The result? Grok-4 Heavy became the first model to crack 50% on xAI's Humanities Last Exam, a benchmark specifically designed to be nearly impossible for AI. The multimodality race is equally fascinating. GPT-4o extended ChatGPT's capabilities to include audio generation alongside text and images. Current ChatGPT running on GPT-5 handles all 3 seamlessly. But Grok-4 took a different approach. They added a massive 256,000 token context window and real-time camera integration. You can literally point your phone at something, and Grok will describe it in real time while talking to you. Here's what really surprised me about efficiency improvements. OpenAI made GPT-4o twice as fast and half the cost of GPT-4 Turbo. Impressive, right? But then xAI dropped Grok-4 Fast in September 2025, which achieves nearly identical performance to Grok-4 while using 40% fewer tokens. That's a 98% cost reduction for equivalent performance. Think about what that means for widespread deployment. The practical differences come down to this. ChatGPT focuses on being the most useful general assistant with features like DALL-E integration and broad accessibility. Grok emphasizes raw capability and real-time information processing with native web search and X integration. Both are incredible, but they're optimizing for slightly different goals. The pace of progress. A verbal timeline. Okay, let's zoom out and look at the absolutely insane pace of AI development, because when you see it all laid out, it's genuinely mind-blowing. Picture this as an exponential curve that's getting steeper every year. In 2018, GPT-1 launched with 117 million parameters. That seemed huge at the time. Just 1 year later, GPT-2 jumped to 1.5 billion parameters, a 10 times increase that made it capable of writing coherent paragraphs that fooled people. Then 2020 hit, and GPT-3's 175 billion parameters changed everything. Suddenly, we had few-shot learning. The AI could learn new tasks from just a few examples. The AI revolution had truly begun, but we had no idea how fast things would accelerate. Fast forward to March 2023, and GPT-4 launches with rumored 1.7 trillion parameters. ChatGPT explodes in popularity, hitting 100 million users faster than any application in history. The world suddenly realizes AI isn't coming. It's here. But here's where the timeline gets absolutely wild. In 2024 alone, we saw GPT-4o in May with multimodal capabilities, XAI launching and immediately releasing Grok-5, which beat GPT-4 Turbo in benchmarks. The iteration speed was unprecedented. Then 2025 arrives, and the pace somehow gets even faster. February, Grok-3 with reinforcement learning. July, Grok-4 with massive scale training. August, GPT-5 with unified reasoning systems. September, Grok-4. Fast with 98% cost reduction. We're getting major breakthroughs every few months now. If you mapped this on a graph with time on the x-axis and capability on the y-axis, it wouldn't look like a smooth curve. It would look like massive steps, each one taller than the last, and they're coming faster and faster. We're not approaching a plateau, we're accelerating. The implications are staggering. If this pace continues, and every indication suggests it will accelerate, we'll see GPT-6 and Grok-5 in 2026, GPT-7 and Grok-6 in 2027. Each generation isn't just slightly better, it's fundamentally more capable in ways we can barely predict. What's next? So here's where we stand at this pivotal moment in AI history. ChatGPT-6 is coming with personalized memory that will fundamentally change how we interact with AI assistants. Not just remembering your preferences, but truly adapting to you as an individual. We're looking at a likely 2026 release that Sam Altman promises will arrive faster than we expect. Meanwhile, Grok-5 is potentially launching even sooner, possibly late 2025 or early 2026, with Elon Musk claiming it might actually achieve AGI. The massive Colossus cluster, the aggressive RL training, the integration of real-time tools, everything points to a model that could redefine what we think AI is capable of. The comparison to current models shows just how far we've come. GPT-5 is already the fastest, most capable ChatGPT ever, building on GPT-4o's multimodal efficiency. Grok-4 dramatically improved on Grok-3 via tool use and search integration. Both are already extraordinary, and they're about to be surpassed by orders of magnitude. What strikes me most is the fundamental difference in approach. OpenAI is emphasizing broad, safe deployment with careful iteration. XAI is pushing raw capability and open collaboration to accelerate progress. Both strategies are pushing us toward AGI, just along different paths. The race isn't slowing down. It's accelerating beyond what most people realize. We're not talking about incremental improvements anymore. We're talking about AI that remembers you, understands context over months and years, can reason through complex problems for minutes or hours, and might genuinely approach human-level general intelligence within the next 18 months. Now I want to hear from you. What excites you most about GPT-6's memory capabilities or Grok-5's potential AGI breakthrough? Do you think we're ready for AI this powerful? And which approach do you think will win? OpenAI's careful iteration or xAI's aggressive scaling? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this breakdown helped you understand what's coming in AI, make sure to subscribe because I'll be tracking every development, every benchmark, and every breakthrough as we race toward AGI. The next 12 months are going to be absolutely wild, and you don't want to miss what happens next.